In the depths of my own struggle, I found myself facing crossroads. Life had thrown its toughest challenges at me, leaving me emotionally drained and searching for answers. It was during this time that I stumbled upon a wellspring of strength and resilience within myself. Just like many of you, I was seeking not just a band aid for my wounds, but a complete transformation, a way to turn pain into power, sorrow into strength, and brokenness into wholeness. This is the story of how I began my journey towards emotional healing, a journey that has led me to create this beautiful series for you titled Undress, Heal, and Progress. Undressing simply means to take off clothes. It is the stage of being naked. Howbeit, in this video, we will be undressing from emotional wounds and trauma. Yup, you heard me right. But just before we get right into it, permit me to welcome you to the first episode of the series titled Undress, Heal, and Progress. Who else is excited about this series? Well, I'm super excited, super pumped, and super elated for this series, and I would love you to be a part of this series. So once again, I welcome you to my space at the Orange Room Talks with Ada. Together, we would navigate through the complexities of mental health and wellness. Let's just get right into it. We will be unleashing, we'll be releasing and unpacking emotional wounds and traumatizing experiences. What exactly is an emotional wound? An emotional wound can simply be defined as a difficult, traumatizing experience or a set of negative experiences that causes mental and psychological pain. Emotional wounds can result from a state of being unloved, unwanted, that is rejection and abuse. We have different forms of abuse. We have physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse. So when we talk about physical abuse, I'm going to be talking about domestic violence, about verbal abuse. It could be use of words, spoken words. When someone says to you, you're not good enough, you're good for nothing, you're useless, that's a verbal abuse. This can leave a scar on your soul that will in turn affect you. So we also have sexual abuse. This could be rape, molestation, incest. Maybe you were raped as a child, or even raped as a teenager or as an adult. And then we have emotional abuse in form of manipulation. A lot of narcissists use emotional abuse. So all these can cause you a mental and a psychological pain that could last a lifetime and affect the way you think, the way you process information. Now, here is the question. Why does an emotional wound affect how you think and process information? Well, here's what I have to say about it. Man is body, soul, and spirit. Your body houses your soul. Your soul is the seat of your emotions, your mind, and your will. When you do have an emotional wound, it's going to affect your will and your mind. How? Because your mind is where you process, you think, you process information, right? Your will is the ability for you to take action. It's your willpower to do something. Now, if your emotion is messed up, it will change how you see things. Whether we like it or not, emotional wounds take away from us. They take away our authenticity. It takes from you. It changes who you are completely. So if you were a lovey-dovey person and you got involved with someone who is hurt, who is messed up and broken, and then they say hurt people, and then they end up rubbing off their hurt on you, you would leave that relationship no more a lovey-dovey person, because for everybody you meet, you want to be yourself, but then there's a restriction within you when you think about, oh, this happened to you. There are now different ranges of emotion that you feel. And before you know, this will now determine how you deal with the next relationship, thereby controlling your willpower to do things and how you react to things. So these are what happens when we go through emotional wounds and we refuse to heal from them. The wounds begin to spread across every other part of your body, every other part of your soul, every other part of your being, and in turn affects you and begins to cause complications in your life, because obviously you meet good people, sweet people, nice people, good relationships, but you will not be able to handle relationships properly. And this is because of an emotional wound or trauma that you're holding on to, that you're yet to heal from. So this is the essence why I'm doing this video, so that we can undress. Now, in undressing in this video, we're going to be highlighting the kind of emotions that this person who is dealing with this emotional trauma or wound would experience. One of them is mood swings. So today you're sad, 1 minute you're happy, 1 minute you're jumpy, 1 minute you're all over the place, the next minute you're withdrawn, you're all by yourself. Depression, anxiety, for some is guilt, shame, stigma, fear, frustration, disappointment, envy, jealousy. These are the different ranges of emotional states that are going to be happening to you. Now, you might not have to experience all of these in one. For people, they're different. It happens in different ways. I don't know if you'd watched the movie Broken that I shot. I kind of portrayed in that movie what happens within our soul when we're sick in the soul. You know, for some, they begin to hear voices in their heads. They begin to have thoughts that are not there. For some, they begin to see things that are not there. Now, see what this brokenness does to you, or rejection or abuse. What it does to you is that you no longer view things the way they are. It's like you now have what we call a colored view. Now, I'm going to give you an illustration of this. For example, now with my eyes, I can actually see that this environment is actually very white. Now, imagine when I'm looking at the environment with these shades, it's no longer white. I'm having a sort of a color that seems more like brownish, creamy, with a shade. I'm not seeing clearly. And because I am not seeing this situation for as it is, I am seeing it from a lens of my trauma, of my experience, of what had happened to me, I would never get to the reality of that situation. I would never be able to interpret that situation from the point of what it truly is. I will always see it from a lens of my emotion. And an emotional wound that you have has a way of blindfolding you. You begin to see things that are not there. Jesus. Oh my God. So then we have other causes like abandonment. Maybe you were abandoned as a child. The loss of a loved one. Maybe you lost your parents at an early stage of your life, or you don't even know your parents at all. Or you grew up in an orphanage home. For myself, I'm an orphan. I lost my dad when I was 6, and I lost my mom when I was 15. I just had my uncles and aunties, who took care of me, but I never felt that love that I felt when I was with my mom. I'm not saying they were not loving, they were very loving in their own capacity. But you see, that closeness, that closure that you share with your parents, it wasn't there. So this made me to toughen up from a very early stage. That was a void in me. As I continued to grow up as a teenager, this void began to demand. I started seeking love and acceptance from everyone. So I was willing to do anything to find that love. I got into relationships that I wasn't meant to because I was trying to fill a void. And what are the signs that shows that you're dealing with emotional hurts? Suddenly you become a people pleaser. You're so insecure, low self-esteem. You constantly feel out of place when you're with people. Because you feel out of place, you're constantly trying to, raise your head high. People dealing with this insecurity supposed to have a superiority complex. They feel like they're better than everyone else in the room. What is happening is that most times they are struggling internally with who they are, with their identity, with accepting themselves. They are struggling so hard to belong and crave so much attention. They want to have all the attention to themselves. They want someone to always validate them. I used to be a people pleaser because there was an innate need for love and acceptance. When I come in contact with female friends, I try so hard to make them love and accept me. That was back in the days, not now. Not anymore. Nah, know my word. Yeah, right now. You really don't have to do anything to be loved. There are people that don't have to even raise a muscle, and you're just favored, you're just loved. The thing is, you need to learn how to love yourself and go to the one who loves you. There's someone that loves you unconditionally. If you bond with that person, every other person will love you, die. Another one is suspicious. They've dealt with a lot of betrayals and just judgmental. They are always looking down on others, judging other lifestyles, judging other people. They become controlling, manipulative. Very difficult to get on with, because sometimes they can be overly aggressive. Whatever you do gets them. You can never do right with this kind of people. But they are harsh. overly sensitive. Every little thing it picks up on you. It's everything just revolves around you. They want to attack me, they want to stop my shine, they want to block my destiny, they want to stop me. Everything is just gonna be revolving all around you, and they struggle all the time to prove themselves. Please, are you watching this video? Are you struggling so hard to prove yourself to be as good as others? Please stop. Oh God, how do I help? Constantly you feel guilt and condemned. You don't feel accepted. You feel unworthy. You are constantly criticizing yourself, overly critical of yourself, overly always condemning yourself. You're a perfectionist. You want everything to be perfect, even down to yourself. You don't even love yourself. Unable to love yourself. You don't love yourself. You have intense fear and anxiety that are triggered by specific situations. There are things that just happen. It triggers you. Like it brings back what happened to you before. Emotional numbness. The person becomes numb emotionally. There's no ability to love anymore. They become overly protective as a protective mechanism. They don't want to attach emotionally anymore. Then for some, self-destructive behavior, substance abuse, like substance abuse, self-harm. You see some persons, when they get angry, they begin to cut themselves. Inability to form and maintain relationships. You also have suicidal tendencies. These people, they are always contemplating suicide because there's a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness. They don't know which way to go. They don't know how to begin. They keep blaming themselves and dwelling so much on the past mistake that they have made, and they fail to move forward and progress in life. They are stagnated. You become overly defensive. If someone just says something, you're willing to defend. See, when you heal, oh Lord, it's such an amazing feeling. Honestly, I just want you to hunger to be healed. I used to be a very defensive person, overly sensitive. If you say something, I'm ready to, I want to defend myself. I really just want to prove to you. Lord, since I got my healing, someone would say something that was supposed to hurt me, and I'm supposed to like defend myself. And what I just did is, I tell you the truth. It's left for you to take it or leave it. And I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Yeah. How do we undress? How do we unpack?